Happy Batman Day. Today we're celebrating the 80th anniversary of Batman, and I'm super excited about that. So in honor of Batman Day, I'm going to be ranking these 11 Batman theatrical movies worst to best. How would you rank these movies? Let's talk in the comments.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Where are you?
Here.
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and it's Batman Day, a day set aside to honor that awesome, fictitious DC Comics hero, Batman. Yeah, he's flippin' awesome. I'm excited to celebrate Batman Day by ranking these 11 Batman movies worst to best. If I missed a movie, let's not get bent out of shape about it. It's Batman Day. Let's make Batman happy. And if I miss something, let's take it as an opportunity to have more Batman talk in the comments. And while you're in those comments, make sure to rank your Batman movies worst to best. As an honorable mention, I will do Lego Batman movie. It was a fantastic movie. It's just, to me, it's not entirely a Batman movie, especially when you have the Eye of Sauron in there.
My eye! Sauron!
And it is a good origin story for the Bat family with Batgirl and Robin and all that stuff. So it is an interesting Batman story and it should be mentioned. Coming in at number 11, Batman and Robin. And at number 10, Batman Forever. I'm just kind of taking these two and shoving them right here because they're just both bad.
It's so you, and yet so you.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Batman and Robin, it just has the edge of being a little bit worse than Batman Forever.
Never leave the cave without it.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. You know what it is? It's interesting because we're seeing history repeat itself now. Back in the day, you had Tim Burton do these great Batman films. But after Batman Returns, WB is like, oh, this is just a little bit too dark and we'd like to sell some toys. So let's brighten this up a bit. And something that was established as darker and grittier is now suddenly being forced to be lighter and more, cheesy.
All right, everyone, chill.
And so it just really didn't work. And I think they did this to sell toys, which in that case, sorry, this is partly my fault because when I was a kid, I didn't think like a critic and I just wanted the flippin' toys. So it's partly my fault. Number 9, Batman the Movie, 1966.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
I like Adam West as Batman, and growing up watching these reruns on TV was great, and I really did like the actual movie that they made out of the Adam West Batman. I thought it was pretty good, and to this day, it's still fun. It's here this low because I have to be in the right mood to watch this movie, but this is a Batman that was established to be bright, established to be goofy, established to be fun, and the last time I watched this movie as an adult, I found myself laughing with it, not at it. It's just a fun, self-aware incarnation of Batman. Number 8, Justice League. Here we go with the established, darker Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman.
Tell me. Do you bleed?
Oh no, we need to brighten this up. And so we kind of forced Justice League through the Whedon lens to try to make it as bright as we could.
Yeah. Oh, something is definitely bleeding.
And it just didn't work. You know what's sad? I like the idea that this movie's around. The fact that Superman is dead, there's an alien invasion imminent, and it's Batman that has to pull together the Justice League. It's Batman who has the faith that maybe Superman's not dead. We need to at least try to bring this guy back. And I thought, that is a unique idea. Do I like the execution of it? No. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Jason Momoa says he saw it. I want to see it! That aside, this is about Batman. I think Ben Affleck is a good Batman. I do. I liked his portrayal in BVS, and his portrayal in this was fine. The problem with his portrayal in this was not Ben Affleck. It was the fact that all of a sudden this Batman had to be lighter and brighter when he was established as a bit more darker and grittier. And what we missed was a redemptive arc. We missed a transition in watching him come back up to be brighter. Instead, it was kind of like you're fast asleep and somebody throws cold water on you. You know, that's kind of what the effect was. It's like what we needed to see was a transition and watch him step into that lighter category rather than all at once, there it is. But my problem is not Ben Affleck. Number 7, Batman Returns. We're looking at my childhood right now. I loved this movie. This was probably one of the first sequels I was just beyond excited for. I loved the 1989 Batman movie. It's what made me a Batman fan. Like, I was a huge Superman fan until the 89 movie. And so when this one came out, I was so excited and I loved it. I saw it on the big screen. And to this day, I mean, I just love Danny DeVito as the Penguin, you know, biting off that dude's nose. No wonder they wanted to brighten this up. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, but Michael Keaton brings something special to Batman. And while I like what he did with Batman a little bit better in the first one, it's still cool to watch him in this one, re-falling in love with a different woman, you know, with Selena Kyle, then learning that she's Catwoman and that he has this secret identity. I think they had a lot of fun with that, but I think, as always, Michael Keaton does a great job of portraying both Bruce Wayne and Batman, and more on that later. But Batman Returns to me was just an excellent Batman movie, and I always love Michael Keaton as Batman. Number 6, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Man, this is such an interesting movie to talk about. I mean, when I first saw it, it was in the B range that I gave it. As time has gone by, I kind of mourn the missed opportunities, and because I'm such a Superman fan, I feel like a lot of the missed opportunities are with Superman. The fact that they rushed the Doomsday storyline.
They have a cave troll.
The other thing that I go back and forth on is the fact that Batman kills in this. And here's why this is a problem for me. Not that Batman kills, but that here he is demanding accountability for Superman while he's out killing. It's like, where's your accountability then? But then I feel like the reason I feel this way is because there really is something deeper there. You see, we get all these indications about the death of Robin in this movie. So we had the death in the family storyline already happen. And I think this caused this Bruce Wayne, this Batman, to fall into darkness. You know, it's interesting. You go into The Killing Joke, and it's all about the Joker trying to prove that Batman is just one bad day away from becoming him. And really what we're getting is the end of that story in Batman vs. Superman, where we see Batman drop down to such a low place with the death of Robin. And what's happening is fear is rising back up in him. Fear that he has absolutely no control. I mean, the movie has to open with the death of his parents again, not just to remind us that his mom's name is Martha, but really to remind us that when he was a kid, he had no control over that situation, and it terrified him. What we're missing is when Robin was being beaten to death by the Joker and Harley Quinn, that really he felt like he had no control in that situation. And now Superman shows up and he's in fear again because here's someone that once again he has no control over. And what I feel like is that is an excellent story and an excellent plot for Batman. But if he had a solo Batman movie where we watched Robin die and we watched him feel like he loses that control, and then we carried it on in Batman vs. Superman, and at the beginning of the Death in the Family movie, we really got to see what Batman was like before the death of Robin, I think it would have made it not just a bit more impactful, but helped us understand and wrap our minds around it a bit more, because we are seeing a Batman fighting for air. We're seeing a Batman fighting to gain some measure of control over his world and fighting to put meaning back into it. And so finally, he has Superman helpless. And when Superman is helpless and he says, "You're letting him kill Martha," he's seeing somebody laying on the ground under his foot who is now powerless to save his family. And then seeing a hopeless Superman on the ground and seeing himself. Not a hopeless Superman. What I meant to say was a powerless Superman who had no power to save his family in that moment. And when he sees that, that makes all the difference in the world. I wish there was a way we could recommunicate that. But anyway, point is I feel like we're missing certain elements of this Batman story to help our minds settle in on some of these important beats. But I think Ben Affleck did a great job portraying Batman. I don't feel like we got a ton of Bruce Wayne, but I thought he was a fine Bruce Wayne. But him as Batman was fantastic. Awesome to see this Batman actually fight on screen and be able to move, like in the warehouse fight. One of my favorite live action Batman fight sequences. I just love it. So I think Ben Affleck did a good job and deserves a bit more credit for his role as Batman. Number 5, Batman, 1989. Oh, I love it. I love it. Michael Keaton as Batman is just fantastic. It really is. You know what I like about it? Is you can see that this Bruce Wayne is nuts. He does a good job separating Bruce Wayne from Batman, playing Batman a little bit more different than he plays Bruce Wayne. But when you're seeing him be Bruce Wayne and kind of trying to be more himself, you see he's got kind of an edge of nuttiness to it.
Right shot. Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
I mean, he's hanging upside down while he's sleeping. I mean, there is something. And then when he is Batman, even though he can't move or turn his head, he has this air of intimidation about him. I just feel like Michael Keaton is a fantastic Batman. Number 4, Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. What I love about it is the story of Batman. It gives the Batman, the animated series Batman, an origin without it being an origin story. We're seeing a mid-career Batman. And a woman that he loved, like in his college years, comes back into town. And suddenly he's flashing back. And what's so interesting about these flashbacks to him falling in love with this girl almost stopped him from being Batman altogether. But what we're seeing is he's in so much pain because of the death of his parents that he wants to bring justice and stop this from ever happening again, and makes this vow to his parents that that is exactly what he's gonna do. And so he feels he's beholden to this vow, and he must become a vigilante that can bring justice. Well, one of the most powerful scenes in these flashbacks is once he's really good and fallen in love, there he is crying at his parents' grave with the rain pouring down.
I didn't see this coming. I didn't count on being happy.
What the monkey? I mean, that is deep. And I think this did a great job, not just exploring Batman, but exploring Bruce Wayne and the Bruce Wayne that becomes Batman. I feel like this movie, with its emphasis in these flashbacks on Bruce Wayne and what Bruce Wayne is like before he becomes Batman, makes the Batman character that much more intimidating, makes him that much more impactful just to watch this Bruce Wayne's mindset. Number 3, The Dark Knight Rises. Number 2, Batman Begins. And number 1, The Dark Knight. These are definitely my top 3 in Batman movies because I liked Christopher Nolan's story and his story beats throughout this entire trilogy. But I feel like the best way to explain why I love this trilogy and they're in my top 3 is through a mini theological analysis.
What do we folks?
When you look at this entire Christopher Nolan trilogy, it's about fear. In Batman Begins, it's about him overcoming fear. In The Dark Knight, it's about the temptation to succumb to that fear. And then in The Dark Knight Rises, it's about him learning what really to fear so that he could rise above. And in Batman Begins, what we really see is he's not dealing with his pain in a healthy way. In fact, he wants to yield to that pain. He doesn't know how to make the mountain move. He doesn't know how to get out of its shadow. So he seeks vengeance at the very beginning of this movie. And when he seeks vengeance to kill the man that killed his father, it doesn't happen. And when Rachel Dawes, the love of his life, finds this out, she says this is the stupidest thing ever. But because he loves her, he lets her in and he listens to her.
You're not talking about justice, you're talking about revenge.
Sometimes they're the same.
No, they're never the same, Bruce. Justice is about harmony, revenge is about you making yourself feel better.
Isn't it interesting that the bad guy is Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows, where they want to continue to train him to justice by their standards, which is really not justice but vengeance, and to push him deeper and deeper into that. And they're working with Dr. Crane and the fear toxin because it's all about Bruce's journey through fear. Rather than just being afraid, he learns it's okay to feel afraid, but I don't have to yield to it and be afraid. And he learns to rise above it and walk the redemptive path.
Your compassion is a weakness your enemies will not share.
That's why it's so important. It separates us from them.
And the Dark Knight, his resolve to walk that line is tested by the enemy. Like The Killing Joke, the Joker wants to prove that Batman is just like him. That in fact, he's one bad day away from being the same person as the Joker. See, the Joker really believes that there was no laws that we're all performing for. If there was just chaos, then deep down we're all just like him, and that's what he wants to prove. And he's trying to prove that with Batman.
Don't talk like one of them. You're not. Even if you'd like to be.
And he's tempting Batman to step over the line and become a vengeful individual and take him out and killing him, thus succumbing to fear. Succumbing to that fear of losing control, succumbing to that fear of no justice.
The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight you're gonna break your one rule.
Succumbing to that fear and that pain that he felt at the death of his parents. He is tempting him to take the easy way instead of that hard way, walking that redemptive path. But in the end, Batman overcomes that. So what does the enemy do in The Dark Knight Rises? They gotta break him and then let him watch his city die so that it breaks him mentally. Then they will go ahead and destroy him completely. But his only way out of that prison is to stop tying himself up. Isn't that interesting? As long as he's got that rope tied around him, there's something holding him back. A sense of false security that won't allow him to make the leap the way he needs to make that leap of faith, to grab a hold of that ledge and find his way out of the pit. So long as he's falling back on that safety net, he's not moving forward. What they say in the movie is he needs to have that fear of death to give him that final push to jump over and make that leap of faith and climb on out of that prison. But for me, I think the real thing is it's not a fear of death that should motivate us, it's a fear of God. And what I mean by that is not being afraid of God, but having that awe and reverence for God. Because when we fear God, then there is absolutely nothing else to fear. When we have that awe and respect for him and reverence for him, that there is nothing bigger than him and there is nothing impossible for him. And if we have that, then we realize there's nothing that is impossible and we can move forward out of those pits and those dark places that we crawl into. And when he embraces that and he unties that rope, that thing that's holding him back, and lets it go, no matter how safe it feels to have it, it gives him that push to make that leap of faith. There it is! I love Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. And you know what? There's a lot of stuff that I could just keep on going on and on about. Why? Batman is such a great character. There are so many more stories left to tell. I am looking forward to Robert Pattinson's turn as Batman, with Matt Reeves directing. I mean, I don't know, I still kind of see him as the sparkly vampire, but you know what? That's my hang up. And I'm going to do my best to untie that rope that's holding me back and make that leap of faith. Because if he's playing Batman and he's excited about it, then he must have a passion for this character. Same with Matt Reeves. I'm looking forward to the future of Batman and what new stories and new ways of exploring his psychology we could see on the screen. Are you excited for the Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves Batman? Are you looking forward to Joaquin Phoenix's turn as the Joker? Let's talk about these things on Batman's 80th birthday below in the comments. While you're there, hit that subscribe button to become a Durbanian. Hit that bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for the next time I do a movie review, ranking video, theological analysis, trailer reaction, or anything else that I do here. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.